Rock Christian Centre started in March 2000 in one of these flats just up here, council flat with just 6 people in it, and in one of the most deprived multicultural areas of Sheffield. In 2003, God very clearly led Tricia and myself to come up to what was then known as Church on the Rock to lead this little church. At that time there were 30 to 40 gathered together in the upstairs of the onion factory. We initiated a 4-fold vision of growth from Acts 2:42 to 47, that as a church we should be growing up in maturity, that we should be growing together in community, that we should be growing out in evangelism and mission, and that we should be growing larger in numbers. And thanks be to God, the church began to grow quite quickly, and over the next few years we saw the church more than double and triple in size. Today, now, these years later in 2019, we now have 250 adults, around that number, registered on Church Suite, and about 120 under 18s who are numbered as part of Rock Christian Centre. So it's been very much a growing and thriving community. The church is in a very challenging area. We're actually, the new church buildings that we hope to move into by the end of 2020 are actually surrounded by 41 mosques. These are the flats that the church started in the year 2000, and this is our new site that we bought in 2016. The former library, which is already being fully utilised as for the food bank and for the church offices and the training centre, and we're going to be building a new auditorium on this site, taking the roof off this building and creating a 450 plus seat auditorium. And so it's exciting to be part of a church and to be leading a church that is growing and developing in the midst of the challenging inner city deprivation and a Muslim-dominated community. Rock Christian Centre is currently made up of around 36 to 40 different nationalities, and we enjoy such vibrant multicultural worship and just celebrating all that the Lord has done with us and in us. The church has a significant profile in the city of Sheffield, largely through its social action and evangelistic projects. The largest one of these is the Burngreave Food Bank, that now serves more than 23 tonnes of food to over 3,000 people, including over 1,000 children per year. The church is also the home for Sheffield street pastors and the training base for South Yorkshire street pastors and response pastors.
It would be impossible to imagine the town running without them being there.
Scott, we're nearly there, mate.
If there's a fight going on, I'll ask God to intervene.
You had any water? Here's Christianity in action.
Currently we have around 50 street pastors from 23 different churches across Sheffield who are serving the immediate area of Burngreave and also the city centre. This is the little chapel that we took over in 2016, that is now the Lighthouse, which is a drop-in centre for the homeless and the needy and the addicts in the area. It's also being used as our prayer centre and also the home of the RCC Filipino community as well for their services on a Sunday afternoon. Gun and knife crime is a real issue in Burngreave, and we host the only gun and knife bin, amnesty bin, word for weapons bin in the north of England.
A number of community groups now in Sheffield are working with families and young people to educate them, to raise awareness. There's a knives bin in Sheffield now. It's in Burngreave, in a fairly secluded spot on a street in Burngreave. But the bin is on land that's owned by the church, by the Rock Christian Centre, and now the Rock Christian Centre has committed to paying to keep that knives bin there for another 2 years.
Yeah, so the bin was installed in April, only a few months ago, and since it was installed it's been emptied, and there was 5 knives in it and about 50 needles. Even if there was 1 knife in there, that would be great, because 1 knife has a potential of a lot of damage. The fact that there was 5 knives in there is a great result.
This is the redundant factory that the church moved into in 2001. We're the only church in the world that meets in an onion pickling factory. And it was here in 2005 and 2006 that we converted the downstairs of this building into a 300-seat auditorium that is our current church building. But it's not big enough, and so that is why we are looking now to move to new accommodation with a larger facility.